Good evening. Welcome to the workshop session of the Mayor and City Council of the City of College Park. I'm Mayor Bianca Motley Broom. We have a quorum present with council members McKenzie, Karn, and Arnold. And so it is 6:02 p.m. and we will start with a special event permit from Providence Baptist Church.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Stephanie Davis, here for a special event at Providence Baptist.
Can you move the microphone just a little bit closer? Thank you.
Sorry. I'm here representing our special event, our annual Fall Festival at Providence Baptist Church, located at 1773 Hawthorne Avenue. Seeking approval for street closures between the streets of Hawthorne and East Main, Jefferson Street between Hawthorne and John Calvin. I'm just asking that be approved by the council.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Davis? We'll go down the line. Councilmember McKenzie?
I do not have any questions. Looking forward to your event.
Councilmember Carr?
No questions.
Councilmember Arnold?
No questions.
All right. It'll be taken up at the regular meeting, but appreciate your time. So that starts at 7:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, the next item is discussion on a special event permit from RBBY Inc. to host the Prostate Cancer Awareness Health Fair on September, it's actually 28th, not September 2nd. It's September 28, 2024, from 7:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at 1745 Phoenix Boulevard, and this is at the request of the Deputy City Clerk, Queenie Brown, and this event will be in Ward 3.
Is there anyone here in regard to that event? Okay. All right. Item number 3, they had another health emergency, so we'll have to postpone that one. Okay.
Mayor, did you want me to take item 3 and roll it to the October meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Well, I am Ricky Gilly, and so I'm here with RBBY on behalf of having a community event on September the 28th. I think on your calendar it may have said September the 2nd, but it's actually September the 28th. And this is a community health fair event to bring about prostate awareness. Also, the event is to, this year, we're doing something different. We got Clayton County Fire Department coming out to teach CPR and how to use a defibrillator. We also have we feed, it's food, fun food for everyone. So this is just a community activity that I've been doing for the last 8 years. And it's my way of giving back to the community.
Appreciate it, Mr. Gilly. Questions for him? Councilmember McKenzie?
I have no questions. Thank you so much for bringing this this very much needed event to our community.
Councilmember Carr?
Okay, so September 28th, that's the date. City Clerk, could we have the Deputy City Clerk to make sure to put that in our calendar so we have it correct?
Does she have access, or do you want me to email the legislative assistants?
Great idea.
Okay,
Thank you
I
so
can do that.
much. All right.
Anything else?
No.
Councilmember Arnold?
No questions.
Councilmember Gay?
No questions.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll take it up for consideration at the regular meeting at 7:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have to be here? Do I have to be here at 7:30?
It would be good if you were.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gilly. Appreciate it.
Item number 4 is the presentation of professional financial audit services from Banks, Finley & White Company. This is sponsored by Karen Slayton Dixon, the Interim Finance Director.
Good evening.
Evening.
Madam Mayor and Council, my name is Albert Butler. I am the resident partner here in our Atlanta office of Banks, Finley & White. We're actually your neighbors right across the way. I prepared a quick presentation to talk about the financial audit services for the council. Hopefully you guys received that presentation, had a chance to go through it. We're here to ask for your approval to become your auditors for the next fiscal audit year under audit. If you like, I can go through and flip the presentation for your benefit. So just for introductory purposes, I do have with me Ms. Britannia Davis, my admin support, along with Mr. David Moore. He's one of our audit supervisors who will be responsible for the audit. As we go through the presentation, Banks, Finley & White is a firm that began in 1973. We have a long history of over 50 years of service to the community. And we've actually been in the College Park location since the late 80s. And actually positioned, firmly right in front of the train track. Our team will consist of, again, myself as the resident partner, along with my relationship partner, Mr. James White, Jr., along with Mr. Jeffrey White, who is actually our concurrent review partner, who reviews all the work that I do to make sure that we are accurate and complete in the work that we do. Again, Mr. Moore will be the supervisor, and along with a host of others who will be members on the team to make sure that the actual financial statement audit and the single audit is done appropriately and presented on time. See if we can just flip over to the next two slides. Just to give the council a bit of information as far as our experience in the space for municipalities. We are currently the auditors for the city of Houston, along with auditors for the city of Memphis, and it's the Rockdale County right here in Georgia. We've actually also worked on the city of Birmingham in our history, along with the city of Atlanta through previous administrations as well too. To give the council a little information as far as our approach to our audits, we have a 4-phased approach. We do our audits based on a risk-based approach to make sure that all possible risk that comes to the table to bring to the council's attention along the way, along with doing the audit in a way that makes sure that we can audit accordingly and be efficient and effective along the way to be done timely. And from a communication perspective, doing the audit, working with the management of the city, we'll have weekly status meetings to ensure that everyone is abreast on what's going on with the audit, and again, so we can be on time. I think I want to keep on expressing the timeliness of the audit to make sure that we can meet all the deadlines to get to submission over for your single audit, especially over to the Federal Clearinghouse. And last but not least, I did include a fee slide for the council's consideration. We have a blended rate for our fees of $150 an hour, and that's concurrent on from our estimated hours of time to get done. This estimate includes your financial statement audit and your single audit for the upcoming fiscal year. With that is the end of my prepared material. I want to take the time to give some opportunity for some questions along the way.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember McKenzie?
Okay, thank you so much for coming out to present and for this proposal. I guess the biggest question that I have is we don't have a lot of time left. I mean, this has to be done, I believe, by the end of this year or completed. So 726 hours. The concern is, do you have any prior background in terms of understanding College Park? I mean, do you think that you can get what you need in the time frame to really get this done, if not on time, before time?
Well, full transparency for the council, this time frame is very, very limited.
Yes.
And that 726 hours is a major, major crunch and major pull. We have to make a request up front to the Federal Clearinghouse to let them know that we may be late along the way because of the time frame when we're getting started. So just to make sure that's clear and understood, that I don't want to give this to the council and let you not know that we will do our best to try to get there, but it is a major, major, major pull to try to get it done within that time window.
Okay, so you said the Federal Clearinghouse.
Yes.
So if you get permission to be late, how does that affect us as a city?
It doesn't. It doesn't. Once they give us the approval, this happens on a regular basis. Not anything that does not happen. So we've done this in the past, and we have relationships with them to make sure that we can get that clearance for you. So that's not an issue.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all I have.
Councilmember Carr?
Are there any late fees in regards to federal clearing? If it's-
Currently, no. Not right now. There wouldn't be any late fees unless it became excessively late. And excessive late would be, I would say, David, correct me if I'm wrong, but over 90 days, over to 120 days, that's when there could be potential for late fees, and we're not in that space right
So
now.
we're not going to be excessively
No.
late? Okay, that's good to know. And I guess you understand why we're looking,
Oh,
putting
definitely.
some other eyes on this stuff?
Yes.
Okay. All right, yeah, I know you guys used to work with us in the past.
Yes.
I guess those fellows, are they still there? Are they no longer there, or?
Well, Mr. Forsythe was a previous
Forsythe,
partner,
yeah.
yes, with us. He's no longer with the firm, and I'm actually his pseudo replacement.
All right, okay, well, I guess it was a good break for you, no
That's-
pun intended. All right, thanks.
Just pretty large shoes to fill, that's all.
So I do have a question in reference to the hours. Let's just say that this was a regular year. What would be the average hours for just a regular audit?
The hours timeframe is consistent for a regular audit as well.
It
Yes.
is?
Yes.
All right, and you say you think that we'll be able to stay within this hour range?
Oh, I do
or-
think yes, the hours range is pretty consistent. I do think if we would have the information that's needed to get the work done, we can definitely stay within that time, that hours range.
Okay, and what is our deadline
December 31st.
for us to get our CAFR and everything done?
December 31st is the deadline.
Okay, all right, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilmember Gay?
Welcome. The only comment I want to make is, have y'all had an opportunity to get the previous audits from Malden and Jenkins? And if so, how much of that historical information will probably be the same?
I would say that the majority of all of it would be the same. At this point, we have not had a chance to communicate with Malden and Jenkins at this juncture. We would have to get approved by the council first before we can start communicating with your current auditor at this time.
Okay, well, just know that those audits are public record, and they may actually be on our website. Or if not, finance can provide you those at least last 3 years audits.
Yes.
City manager, can you make sure if we decide to go with them, that finance can get them the last 3 years?
When I met with them last week, I gave them a copy of our last audit. I can go back.
Further back, yes.
I give them a copy of the last audit.
But for the council's benefit as well, once if we did become your auditor, we would get access to the work papers from Malden and Jenkins as well, and we would do a review of their work papers because we want to rely on the work that they did in the previous period so we can keep on moving and concurrently to push the audit to get done.
No other questions?
Sir, I had a couple of questions.
And I have questions too, Mayor.
All right, go right ahead, Councilmember McKenzie.
This item, I believe, is this item going to be on our consent agenda today?
It is.
Okay, so that's all right. So I have to ask a question. Councilman Carn mentioned something about the reasons why we would be considering another company. So since this is consent, that is a question that I have right now. What are you referring to, Councilman
Well,
Carn?
essentially, and city manager is Mrs. Dixon. She's going to be here for 7:30.
She right.
Oh, right, okay, I'm sorry. Know where my mind
In the back.
is. Okay, so we're good. Essentially, we've been using the same audit firm for the past 16 years. I guess this year would have been 17. Now, obviously, I think sometimes you can get a little too comfortable with the same set of eyes on the same documents, and particularly when you're talking about a contracted situation, and as a freestanding business, you want that annual contract renewed.
That's
You
right.
following me?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking for issues, I'm looking for things that maybe, the same eyes that have been looking at it may have overlooked something possible. That's why we want a new set of eyes to look at it and not just peruse the same documents that they gave you. So I want a really good look here, because we're paying good money for a new look.
Right.
So we don't want a re-scrubbing of the same old documents. But I think, in my opinion, that going with someone for a 17th year for an audit, would almost be a waste of money, and I don't want to waste any money.
Right.
I want some fresh eyes on this from a fresh perspective, then maybe they can find something that we need to be aware of. generally, we do pretty good financially. I don't think there are any big major issues, but we're looking for anything under the hood that looks out of the ordinary. You follow
Right.
me?
That's exactly right, yes.
So we don't want to just to scrub over of the documents we got from last year.
That's right. So our goal in the audit process is to bring to the council's attention any items that, from a risk perspective, need to be brought to your attention that would require added scrutiny. So our interest would completely be to audit in a way that, one, is timely, two, to bring to your attention all items of risk that you need to know about.
Okay, so,
I had a comment.
Wait, hold on. Councilmember McKenzie?
yeah, I just wanted to respond because I asked the question. So basically, Councilman Carn, if I'm hearing correctly, this is, because this was brought up last week, last meeting, I had some of my residents reach out concerned about this whole process with our audit, changing the company. So what I'm hearing, and I just want to be clear, is that we feel that after 17 years, it would be help, and continuing to get the same exact report, that it would be helpful in the name of transparency, integrity, and better fiscal soundness to put new eyes on our city finances. So this is not to slant it, but it is to really make sure that we are, we're not just having a contract renewed over and over and over again, and somebody giving us the same information.
Absolutely.
So so for me, this sounds like if we were to bring your company on, the purpose is that we need new eyes. There's nothing that we want you to find, but we want, if there is anything to be found, we want it to be found so that we can continue fiscally as the type of government, the organization that we think we've been for the past 17 years.
Correct.
Well,
Yes.
and, I mean, you go to the doctor, you get your regular checkups, and sometimes you say, well, hey, I'm going to go to another doctor, get a second opinion. And you may go to that doctor, and they say, well, everything looks all right, but we found something over here that you might need to be aware of that maybe the other doctor just kind of overlooked because they were used to the same routine. So that essentially, we're looking for efficiencies, and we want to make sure we're covering every aspect of our finance, and make sure the portfolio's looking right and everything's in order from a new set of eyes. So, yeah.
And
Councilmember Gay?
I want to add some perspective to Councilwoman McKenzie's question. And that perspective would be that they do follow GAAP, general accounting principles, but moreover, this is a CPA firm. And just a little historical background for the new members on council. When Derek Cannon was no longer our financial director, we brought in their firm. And essentially, their firm trained our previous finance director, right? And there was a conversation that afterwards, we would consider them for the audit after they sit out 2 years, because I think it's some kind of, after they work for us, they can't, but that never happened. So to be able to bring a CPA firm of color doing business in your city for a decade, to me, is an amazing progress.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I had a couple of questions. And sir, forgive me, your last name?
Butler.
Mr. Butler. I saw on the first slide that this was a proposal response, so how were you contacted in the first place?
Well, through the general concourse of being inside the city, that we knew that the proposal was potential on the docket. So Mr. Aberdeen and came over and we had conversations previously.
I'm sorry, I'm unclear. Who reached out to you?
Mr. Aberdeen, we had yes.
When did that happen?
Oh, this was weeks ago now.
Weeks ago?
Yeah.
Before, in September or prior?
I'm not 100% sure, but it had been prior to September, yes.
Okay. All right. And what does our procurement policy say about the solicitation of?
I would let City Attorney address that.
Accounting services are a professional service that is not required to be bid out by our policy.
All right. And Mr. Butler, have you had the opportunity to familiarize yourself with the operations of our city in regard to our enterprise funds and the like?
Well, from the standpoint of just reading through the financials previously, that's the limit of my interaction of reviewing anything related to the city at this time.
And I saw that there were 4 phases of your timeline,
Mhm.
planning, preliminary, final, and a report. What would be the time that you would expect for each of those phases?
Well, the planning phase will start off once we get admitted to become the auditor, and it starts immediately. And we go through a process of a risk assessment of the entire city. And that involves interviews, consultations, and talking with different members inside the city itself. Time-wise, that can range anywhere from 40 to 100 hours up to 150 hours or so, or maybe even 200 hours, depending on how many people we need to talk to through each department inside the business.
Okay, and what about the preliminary stage?
Same. The preliminary stage, again, that is more or less looking at the controls for the company, for the city as well, and that's within every department inside the city. We'll go through a process of doing, again, a risk assessment process of what controls are actually in place and planning to test those controls.
And so how long would that take?
Traditionally, anywhere from 100 to another to maybe even 300 hours or so.
What about the final phase?
Again, in the final phase is total. We bring all our substantive testing together, and that substantive testing was a lot more detailed transactions, looking at vouching and tracing of information. That can take anywhere from, again, another 100 to 200 hours or so.
And the report?
The reporting is very integral because we do actually work hand in hand to do that. That can take anywhere, again, from another 100 hours or so to put together.
And I saw the cost of $108,900. Would your firm be willing to do a guarantee of not to exceed that amount?
We will do our best to try not to exceed that amount. I don't know if we can, the first time coming in, there's always a conversation of if there's any type of overages. We wouldn't do any type of overages unless it was approved by the council.
Are we eligible for the GFO award if we're late?
Well, I would have to check to make sure, but at the being late, you should be still eligible for it. If we get approval, you still should be eligible to get it, yes.
And I know someone said that we had gotten the same exact report 16 years running. That's factually inaccurate. We have not received the exact same audit report 16 years in a row. So I want to make sure that everyone's clear on that. That's just not the case. But any other questions, comments?
We've been using the same auditor for 16 years in a row, and generally, we didn't have any significant deficiencies. So that raised a red flag for me.
And I'll say, we just didn't get the same one 16 years in a row. And we did have some findings during that time. But
Mayor, can you expound on those? You said there were some findings. Could
There
you
were-
share that with us?
there were findings throughout the years with various controls in various departments.
Any examples, or is it some, because
I recall seeing them.
could you share that with us? Because I definitely would be interested to know.
All of our audits are available online.
Well, I mean, you were just saying specifically, I wasn't aware that there were, so I'm
There
trying
were-
to make a decision, so.
There were findings in the controls, and I think that having a conversation with either those auditors or reviewing the audit reports themselves will yield that.
Okay.
And just to add for the council's benefit as well, findings and significant deficiencies are layered. There can be findings, and just because you have a finding doesn't mean that you have a major problem. Having a significant deficiency, that is something that, in my auditor judgment, that I feel the need to bring to the council's attention, and then to the heightened level of material weakness. That's something that is a material number that definitely needs to be brought to the council's attention, something needs to take place. So findings happen, they do happen, and normally findings can be alleviated by having other compensating controls in place that can take care of those findings.
Absolutely.
Well, because we won that award she spoke about, there's never been any significant findings. We always have material findings, always. So that's what, more clarification. I didn't think it was going to be number for number, but there's been no significant findings.
Any other comments, questions?
Which speaks good of this great city of College Park, by the way.
That definitely speaks, majorly for the city.
All right. Hearing nothing else, we'll see everybody at 7:30.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.